Hello and welcome back to Melanin Musings. This week we're joined by the lovely, talented, amazing Destiny, talking about the performing arts, her story, her journey. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Hey Destiny.
Hey Steph, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Good. We are hot.
Oh my
Steph.
gosh. Oh my gosh. In this UK.
We are so hot.
It's not even nice heat.
Oh, but do you know what it is? It's like, I love hot weather and I try not to complain. I do, because it's like, we always say it's too cold.
Honestly,
and then it's just like, but I hear
we
you.
get too sun and we're like, nope.
I know. It's a healthy balance, isn't it? It's a healthy balance.
And come with nice heat, please, UK.
I know, nice heat. Just my one request, because I'm not going to complain. Well, just nice heat would be nice.
In my little comment section, nice heat.
Nice heat,
Kiss.
nice heat, exactly. Exactly. But apart from that, do you know what? Good, because I'm staying in the place of gratitude. Things have been tough, things have been hard. For all sorts of reasons, but then because of, COVID, lockdown, all of these lovely, wonderful things. But at the same time, there's been so much to gain from it as well. So it's just being in a state of gratitude that there's still family around, there's still a roof over our heads, all that good stuff. Do you know what I mean? Progress is going to be made for our people, all that good stuff.
It's ours, it's coming. No, I honestly feel it crazy that you say that, because I've felt the same. Just really, really thankful for the people around me in the situations, even though it's not ideal, obviously, but it's grateful and thankful for what I do have and what we've come through already.
Yes.
So you're now a full-time actor, but you studied history and politics.
I did, yes, at university.
Yeah, so what, where, when, how, who, all of the above.
Okay, yeah, so story time. In terms of my transition and finding myself on the path that I am on now, it did really start at university. Actually, I should jump back a bit. It just always being quite academic. University was always the goal. University was uni. It wasn't a conversation or a struggle. It was just that's my direction. That's where I'm heading. That's where I'm going. And then it got to the stage of going to uni and picking history because I love history, favourite subject, and then adding the politics element after being at university and learning a bit more. I was I quite like this. Put the two together, and then fast forward to my second year out of 4, because I did a 4-year course. Was really thinking, okay, what do I want to do? I need to really figure it out, because history is I think there's a misconception with history and politics, especially history, but there's such a wide range of things you can do, lots of transferable skills. So there was a lot of choice, but I was okay, what do I really want to do? What's my heart's desire? And I thought, actually, I've always quite liked acting and performing. So what I did is when I had the opportunity to study abroad in Florida, absolutely best experience of my life. Yeah, so good. I took an acting module because it was quite flexible, and then I was okay, I like this. Came back, spoke to one of my uncle's friends who's also an uncle to me, and I was he's an actor. I was I want to be an actor, and he's go away, do acting lessons for a year, come back to me. That's exactly what I did. Last year of university, I also did acting classes at Norwich Theatre Royal, because I went to UEA based in Norwich, and then came up to graduation time, and I thought, okay, what am I going to do when I get back to London? So I applied for part-time drama school there and the National Youth Theatre. By God's grace, I got into both.
Wow.
And then, so good. So I was kind of just working on stuff back in London in terms of, so graduation. Then it was the NYT course, which is for a month, which is absolutely great. You work with an original writer. You work with a writer to create original work and a director over 4 weeks. And so that was absolutely amazing. Met great people. Did part-time drama school whilst I was, interning and working. So I was literally working 7 days a week for a few good months, just hustling. And then just kind of finally landed that kind of full-time job, but it was always my part-time job in my head. Whereas where I met you, Steph, when we were out in the big bad world.
Oh my gosh.
That corporate life. And then it was kind of, okay, doing the both. Wasn't happy in that job, so I thought, okay, I need to move on to somewhere else. Got a job, really great job. I would still be there if I didn't want to act. Honestly, best company, best leadership, so great. But I came to a crossroads because I actually joined a youth theatre company, Intermission Youth Theatre. It's like my
Shout out.
family. Oh, I love them. Shout out to Darren. Shout out to Nana. Love them so much. My whole IYT family. Claire, Sue, big up everyone. But an opportunity arose where I got to be part of this company, this family, and we were coming up with a production at the end of November, because it was like 10 months we were together. And it was a crossroads, and it was like, okay, so this is do or die, because what happened was there was an opportunity for me to invite agents to this showcase, and it was like, it was a play, you know, but it was just like, okay, I'm absolutely exhausted, working my 9 to 5. My work finishes at 5:30 Baker Street, and I need to be Knightsbridge for 6 o'clock. And then rehearsals until 9. I have no time to write my agent letters. I have no time to work my character work outside of this. I looked 2 years fast forward, and I said, am I ever going to get an opportunity like this, where I'm going to have the opportunity to really have eyes on me in order to gain what I want, which was professional representation? And I said no. And, you know, looking into myself, going into my word, speaking to God, it was the right time for me to leave full-time employment. So I did, and by God's grace, I got exactly what I wanted. Even like the conversations in terms of, I got professional representation with a really great agency, and even the conversations with other agents that I've had, and, you know, just that whole process was so good. And, you know, kind of like that's where we are now. So it's kind of just auditioning, trying to build up momentum, and just being so grateful that I'm in this place.
But
where I am now.
said, like, it's hard.
That's the story.
Like COVID's made it hard, but like you've come
easy.
through a lot. Like, it's really interesting actually that you very much tandemed like the corporate side and the acting side until you came to that crossroads and you did it. You had to actively make that decision. I think I hear a lot that people decide a lot earlier on to go into performing arts, or they decide a lot later on than you, like, to do it in tandem. That is a lot. That is hard. Do you think you were kind of pushed into having to do it in tandem? Like, I know you said that your uncle was an actor. Growing up, do you think there was anything or anyone around you that encouraged you to go into performing, or were you like, no, I have to do it in tandem until I can kind of make a living for myself?
No, that's a great question actually. So in terms of being encouraged at a younger age to go into the performing arts, no, I didn't have that. However, at that time it wasn't like, oh, this is what I really want to do.
Okay.
I think so. Maybe going way back to when I was in primary school, there was this sensation of like, I want to be a singer. Like, that's kind of like my first entertainment aspiration, we could say. But honestly, that died pretty quickly. So it's just like, how serious was I with that one? With my mum, like, I was always quite grateful, because she encouraged me regardless of what I wanted to do. Like, she never kind of crushed my dreams or anything. I think she was always quite cautious education wise, you know, just get that, make sure that's done, you know, you've got that back pocket kind of mentality. And I think that happens a lot, especially being an African child descendant. You know what I'm trying to say? You know, like, education is very important for my community, you know, especially coming over. And that is like the primary thing. That's the primary goal, education. So I've never had that discouragement. But even when I did have a conversation with my mum, let's say like changing degrees, because I was like from law to history, there was a bit of apprehension. I was like, oh my gosh. But I spoke her through it. And then, so it was weird. So to tell her like, okay, I'm going to pursue acting. And honestly, like, my mum is my biggest cheerleader. Like, she's my biggest supporter. So it's like, it's amazing that I have that support, you know. So it's never kind of been like, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. My mum is like, yes, you can do it big. So that's been a blessing. And I think it was a thing for me, it was just being academic and having that goal and that focus. I didn't really know what like the drama school concept was until I already started in that lane. And like, I've done my degree. I was like, drama school, this is a new world for me. Like, this is a thing. I was like, wow, this is really interesting. And it's good for other people, but I'm not saying that I wouldn't have gone to drama school if I did know about drama school. But I definitely believe everyone has their own path. And I quite like the fact that I did something else. I kind of wasn't drama focused earlier on in my life. So yeah, it just makes it a bit more interesting, I think.
No, 100%. Like, I think it's really hard to get into it when you've come from it that kind of way. We haven't been doing it forever. Like, and it's so easy. Like, I know I still have my moments where I'm like, you know what? A 9 to 5 where I can just get my paycheck at the end of the month and be secure would be Gucci right now. Like,
right now.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? How nice.
Oh, lovely.
So, like, but you know that, like, you know, it has to be a passion at that point. Like, you have to love it to kind of continue it. And because you've taken yourself out of that corporate environment and actively given up your job, given up such a nice place as well that you were in to do it, like, you must know that it's the right thing to do. And plus you had supportive people around you. Like, in my post I called you my mentor when I started that job, which you were, because Destiny, I kid you not, I would not be here at RAM, like, pursuing a musical theatre career, pursuing an acting career, if it wasn't for meeting yourself in that job. So do you have anyone that you can remember growing up that was a mentor to you and did help guide you along the path?
First of all, I just want to say, like, oh my gosh, Steph, I'm so humbled and I'm so grateful that you associate that kind of, like, feeling and those sentiments with me, because honestly I just saw you, like, you're my friend, and it's like, wow, we're in this together. Like, we want to do this and we can do this. And it's so weird because it's like, even like cheering you on, not that I had to know, but it's like, didn't know if you could act, didn't know if you could sing. I didn't know, but it was just like,
it's actually very
like,
true.
You didn't know if I can act, you didn't know if I can sing, you didn't know. It was just like, oh, let's just do this. But it's just like, you know, like, when you connect with people, it is just so special. And when you want to see people win, I think that, I love that about myself. Not to pick myself up, but I love that about myself. I'm genuinely a person.
Pick yourself up.
Oh my goodness, I'm genuinely a person that loves to see people win. And so it was, honestly, just like, when we were having those discussions, like, oh, you know, I'm an actor as well. I kind of want to, because you were thinking about doing the part-time acting school I went to, and we were talking about that, and I was like, oh, go for it, you should defo go for it if you need help with, like, the audition process. And I was like, oh, moving on to something else, drama school. I was like, yes, drama school, blah blah blah, Royal Academy of Music, that sounds good. Yes. Then you're telling me you're opera trained. I was like, yes, girl. Then you're telling me about the singing lessons with your amazing singing teacher. I was like,
oh, she was amazing.
So good.
She was amazing.
So good. I was like, yes, all the way, because I saw you as just my peer. Like, I saw you as someone who I just wanted to win. So, you know, when you say mentor, girl, I was just about in that job a month longer than you, girl. I was like, oh my goodness. But yeah, honestly, I'm so humbled. That thank you for your lovely words. And I think it's really interesting in terms of mentorship. It is such it's such a good concept. It's very, very, very helpful and very empowering. I would say, let's say when I was younger, I didn't, and let's say acting mentorship, I didn't have that. I feel with coming from my youth theatre company, Intermission Youth Theatre, I do now have mentorship in Darren, who's the artistic director, and Nana, who is the deputy assistant director now / our mentor. And it was just really great to have them be in my corner and really spur me on. And it's not just the acting, it was empowerment of me being a person first. And I think that's what is so powerful about what Intermission do. So it was really, really great to have them and still have them, you know, so really, like, being able to, like, work through myself, because you're a person first before you're anything else. So the person you are is going to impact your acting. It's going to impact the way that you move within another character and all these kind of things. And, you know, through them, I was able to unlock something, because it was a doubt, a doubt and an unbelief in self, and I didn't know where that was coming from, and I'm still partially working through that. But I know if that wasn't unlocked, and that wasn't nurtured, and if that wasn't encouraged to kind of blossom out of through Intermission and Darren and Nana, I wouldn't be able to accomplish the things that I have done, you know. So I'm very grateful for that mentorship, and especially them being mentors as black men is really powerful. Really, really powerful.
Yeah.
Not just for myself, but, you know, the black young men who are in that organisation as well, you know. So it's a beautiful thing to see. It's a beautiful thing to have. And mentorship doesn't just stop at the craft, I think, is the point I'm trying to make. out of whatever you're trying to do, whether that's business, whether that's acting, whether that's singing, whether that's sustainability, I don't know, but it just doesn't stop at the acting. Like, it's such a powerful thing to have someone believe in you, full stop.
Like, so much of what you just said, I'm just like, I'm getting onto that, because, like, talking about the person and your own belief in yourself and you're finding your own self-identity before you then go on to become an actor is something that I think, again, I didn't really realise was necessary until I stepped into that working world, which is why I think it's really interesting that we've both kind of done the corporate side and then gone into acting, because I think it's given us both a different kind of take on performance, because you do kind of have to know yourself and everything that comes with that, the good, the bad, the ugly, the nice and not nice, everything, before you get up on that stage and put on a mask of someone else and put on a different character. And also it helps you delve into different bits of different characters as well. Like, I really find that if I find parts of me that I'm like, okay, I don't really like, okay, but let's lock that up and put it into a character that could really, really work really well, and like explore that a bit further. So yeah, identity and looking inwards before you then play outwards is honestly something that had spoken to me. But then touching on the Black experience in doing that, I think you saying that your mentors are Black, and like especially Black males in this industry, like representation, diversity, inclusion, is just something that I have only begun recently seeing, like, mainstream kind of. Like, I Made a Story, for instance, like Michaela Coel is just
talented is not the word.
Wow.
That writing, oh my gosh.
What? Like, she's been around for years. She's been writing for years. And, like, it's only recently now that things are being kind of allowed, and I say allowed, quote unquote, on, like, mainstream TV, and, like, people are watching it and it has a mainstream kind of audience. What has that experience been like for you, like tackling diversity, inclusion, racism even, for want of a better word, in the industry?
So it's, like you said, it's, you know, we're seeing more of ourselves in different contexts, I think is key. I think we Black people have been on our screens for a long time, but in very narrow settings, very narrow characteristics, very narrow circumstances. And that's very dangerous. Very dangerous. So it's amazing to see very nuanced characters who just happen to be Black. That's beautiful. But it's just as important as, you know, documenting, you know, struggles that we have had. So I just want to, like, be on record and be like, I'm not the person to say, oh, you know, our pain shouldn't be put on TV anymore or anything like that. No, I think, like, it's equal, like any other, it's just like any other race, you know, has their joys, has their struggles. So it's just that should all be portrayed out there. And I'm just loving that, because we have nuanced characters being written authentically, which is also very important, by the people who are being reflected on the screens. It just gives us more visibility and more width of who we are and who we can be, which is really, really great. And I think that just impacts, because we have a wider range of narratives. I believe this is where the power of visibility will come through in terms of changing the narrative of racism. I believe, because I believe the images that people see about themselves and about others can really make an insightful impact. Like, to think of, like, let's say when we were growing up, our representation visually were Americans, which is absolutely great. We had, like, the Moeshas, we had the girlfriends, we had the Parkers, we had One-on-One, and, you know, that was really powerful, you know, telling of ourselves, but it wasn't 100% complete, because it's like, where's the British aspect, you know? And then I think that also feeds into that idea of Britain isn't racist, because visually that's not being portrayed. That's not being seen. We weren't being seen as much as we are now to be what is to be Black and British. So honestly, and I think that's the reason why ultimately I'm an actor. I really just want to, because I've got shaved head. You guys would have probably seen the picture. But it's like, I want to be a character who just happens to be Black and has a shaved head, and it not mean anything else but that.
Define anything else.
Exactly. You know? And at the same time, I want roles which there is a significance to why I have shaved head, but I don't want that to be the only thing.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. My skin colour or your skin colour shouldn't be the first thing that is seen in a role, but you still need to see it.
Yeah, yes.
But you still need to see it.
Yes.
Like,
and that takes me on, yes. Yeah. And that takes me on to the idea of like when the terms is said, oh, I'm colourblind, and it's like, no, don't be colourblind. See my colour. See my shades, see the way I walk, see the way I talk, see the way I interact, see the food, see my heritage, see my culture, and then just don't discriminate against it.
Exactly. Like, all of that, like, we are actors, we are players. Everything that we do is make-believe.
Yes.
Technically.
Yes.
So why then can you give me the argument that it's historically inaccurate that I play a Shakespeare or I play a Chekhov? Why is that a problem? Because we're all playing, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're all playing. So if you can play it, why can't I? Don't let my skin colour be a hindrance to that, please.
So true.
Yeah, honestly. Do you think, because obviously we talked about American actors and like black actors, and they've had a much more diverse kind of remit from the get-go, but like how do you think, or what has helped you navigate the industry as a black British woman? Like how do you think you're getting on with that?
So I am definitely seeing, because I would say I'm quite relatively new to the game, I am fortunately seeing when auditions do come through, there are a few which are colourblind and also, I want to say body blind, I don't know if that's a thing, but there has been explicit instructions or kind of just like in saying, okay, we want to see all races, all ethnicities, all body types or body shapes for this role. And I think, wow, that's great, because you're not saying, okay, let's get the best white actor into the room. You're like, let's get the best actor into the room. And that's really powerful way to just cast a character. And again, it's just being like, oh, that's that girl who has been through a lot of this specific type of trauma, and she just happens to be black, because we're just all universal. You know, like we all have universal stories, even though they may come in different shapes, sizes and forms. Like let's say Black Panther. Yes, like great film, great, beautifully constructed film, and it's just, it was a very specific African narrative and African American narrative, and that relationship between the two, but anyone universally can pick up themes and ideas and relate to them, you know.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, of course. You saying there with breakdowns coming out and you seeing it be more like diverse. It took me a couple of minutes to think about it as well.
Appreciate it.
So yeah, they're coming out and they are more diverse, but I mean, half the problem therefore is getting your foot in the door. So do you think our industry, like from your opinion, is doing enough to be representative behind the screens, behind the camera, like not just in the room? Like, because I know for a minute it felt a bit like a tick box exercise. And do you think that's changing? Like what's your opinion on that? So
from what I am aware of, I don't feel there is enough change. There are certain like initiatives and things like that. But like you said, it can be a tick boxing exercise. And I think what I'm wrapping my head around is like the power of behind the scenes, because it's about that authentic storytelling, that authentic writing, those authentic characters. And when, yes, like let's say if someone was white and did write a let's say a series on a black experience, they could do their research, and it can be, you know, it can be done thoroughly well, and, you know, try to made as authentic as possible, but that's not always done, you know. And I feel like we do really need to encourage and empower young people, I think, as well, young people, and let them know, like,
young people don't stand up.
Yes, for real, like for real.
My black writers, my black creatives stand up.
Yeah, for real, because they need to be encouraged and be informed, like, because like knowledge is power. Like I'm telling you, I'm an actor now, but I didn't. What was drama school? I didn't know what that was. I didn't know that was a thing. I was unaware. Where
accessible either. Like I was told about drama school at school, or I was told about music. I was told about RAM by my singing teacher at school, and I was like, black people don't go there.
Oh god,
like,
really?
I was like, black people don't go there. Like, look, she showed me a picture of it. I was like, yeah, black people don't go. Look at the building. And that was like, that was a naive view from my point, like from my head. Like I was putting up my own barriers, but also I had no one to tell me any different either.
Yes.
And people, they're just the representation wasn't there, the accessibility wasn't there, so it works both ways. Like we need people in front and behind the scenes.
Yes,
100%.
the power of behind the scenes is and we need to be able to spread that knowledge. And I think that, you know, I think one thing for me is the response of like what I want to do with my platform is like be responsible in the way of, you know, really sharing very early on to more, you know, black people, younger black people, in terms of what you can do in the entertainment industry, because I think it's just there isn't that knowledge, there isn't that understanding, there isn't that gateway in terms of, you know, where I came from. Like I didn't really know people who were into drama or anything like that when I was younger. It's just not that knowledge, and with knowledge comes power. And we'll be able to feed, you know, the back end of the industry with people with stories who can contribute.
And making sure people know, like, it is a viable career. Like, it's just as good as being a lawyer or a doctor or a businessman, woman, etc. Like, you can make a career for yourself in this industry. And I think it's opening up that conversation as well between us and youngers.
Yes, 100%. Like, I've always imagined, like, I just really want to... you know, God willing, when I have a bigger platform and I can reach, like, I really want to have, like, a connection and relationship with my old secondary school. Yeah. And set up something like a weekly theatre opportunity, you know, and just go and see theatre.
That'd be sick.
You know?
Be so good.
Something like that, just to, like, really just expose people to the arts. I think it's definitely important.
Make it normal to see black people in the arts as well. Make it every day. And like you said, we don't want a tick box exercise, because it did feel like that for a while. And it's just important to know, like, casting people of colour, not just black people, and sometimes you have an Asian person who's like the comedic relief, and it's like, why are they put in that category as comedic relief? You know, or the black loud woman as comedic relief, like, why is she best friend?
Like, why are we doing that? That's not necessarily always true. And how true is it that you're putting it on our screen so much?
Exactly. Like, are you trying to create your own narrative and create your own truth? And feed the nation that? Like, let's take a handle on it. Okay, so as you're now kind of making your way throughout this industry and been very successful in it, and had a very successful start as well, what advice would you give to any person, a person of colour, black person, white person, any person, kind of coming up through the industry and trying to get into it now?
I would say be aware of the actor that you want to be. I feel like what has really kept me steady, just even in this short amount of time, is just kind of visualizing the type of actor I want to be. It's funny because my friend and I was having a similar conversation in terms of let your no be your no and your yes be your yes. And I think that does start from quite early on, because one thing I don't want to do, and I don't feel like we should do, is like, so the entertainment industry, we look at it, you know, with our big wide-eyed selves, and we're little children again. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like something I've always wanted. This is like, oh my gosh, this is like a lovely new world, and like, oh my gosh, this is amazing, and not a lot of people can reach here and get here. And it's just, I think integrity is very important and very grounding in terms of moving forward in this industry. Because you don't want to give up your soul for what can potentially be given to you. I think that's very important, and I think the sooner that you understand that, the better long term that will be. So I was saying, knowing the actor who you want to be, but it's really knowing the person who you want to be, who happens to be an actor in this industry.
Exactly, it's all back to that sense of self. That's amazing. Yeah, it's so true. And it's got me thinking again. See, she's still mentoring me. She's still mentoring me.
Oh gosh.
Wow. Wow. No, Destiny, that has been great. That has been like really enlightening and really refreshing to talk to another black creative who's in the same situation or similar situation, and just talk about our industry and, I don't know, have some home truths delivered and some realizations. Yeah, but thank you, Destiny, for being our Melanin Muse this week, and thank you for sharing your stories with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's just an amazing platform that you're creating to really get some good conversation going. Honestly, I feel so honoured you wanted me to speak, so thank you so much. I pray that this touches someone and they're able to get something from this. And yeah, just so grateful. Thank you, Steph.
Thank you. Thank God. Thank you.